A candle doesn't prove its power by how brightly it burns. It proves it by what remains after it dies. Long after the light is gone, the scent still lingers in the room, faint but undeniable. It follows you. It reminds you. It haunts you. This is presence after presence, the kind of existence that doesn't beg for attention but redefines it. You don't need to be loud to echo. You don't need to stay to matter. And maybe, just maybe, your true value begins where your constant availability ends. We've been taught that to be loved is to be seen. To be respected is to be everywhere all the time. Always responding, always available, always proving. But has it worked? Or have we simply been consumed until we disappear? The truth is harsh. The more accessible you are, the less they feel you, because people respect presence only when it's earned, and they feel absence only when it's meaningful. So here's the question. If your light went out today, would anyone smell the smoke? Or have you been so present, they've gone numb to your fire? It always starts the same way. You show up, you give, you offer your time, your words, your warmth. At first, they notice, they thank you, they even admire how present you are. But soon, it becomes routine. Then, it becomes expected. And finally, it becomes invisible. Because the mind adapts, and what was once precious becomes predictable, not because your presence lost value, but because it lost scarcity. This is the paradox of constant availability. The more you offer, the less they feel. The more you show up, the more they forget how it felt when you weren't there. You become like air, essential but unnoticed. They only miss it when it's gone. But by then, you're already empty. And here's the tragedy. You gave everything, not realizing that you were teaching them to take you for granted, that in trying to prove your worth, you made yourself consumable. People don't crave what's abundant, they crave what's rare. That's how attention works, that's how memory works, that's how respect decays. So maybe it's not that they've stopped appreciating you. Maybe they were never taught to, because you never gave them the silence to miss your voice. There's a difference between being seen and being felt. You can be in the room, in every room, smiling, helping, offering, and still go unnoticed, because presence without perception is noise. Think of the friend who never misses a call, always replies in minutes, always shows up. The one who's always there. Until one day, they're not. And suddenly, everything feels louder. Their absence stings. You replay their words. You feel their space. That's when you realize you never truly saw them. You only consumed them. And that is the cost of being constantly available. You become seen, but not remembered. Useful, but not valued. But there's another way. It's called strategic absence. Not ghosting, not games, Not manipulation, just space, intentional space. The space to let people feel your silence, the space to reclaim your gravity, because sometimes the most powerful move is not to appear, but to disappear on purpose. When you're always available, people measure you in seconds, but when you're rare, they measure you in silence. It's strange, isn't it? You offer more, they feel less. You show up every time and somehow become invisible. That's because visibility doesn't create value. Scarcity does. And power lives in the space between appearances. Machiavelli once warned, appear as little as possible. Power is preserved by mystery. He wasn't talking about deception. He was talking about discipline. The wisdom of knowing that presence loses weight when it becomes predictable. Throughout history, the most respected figures weren't the loudest or the most active. They were the most intentional. A king who rarely leaves his chamber is not forgotten. He is feared. Because fear isn't born from what we see too often. It's born from what we can't fully see at all. In today's world, where everyone is broadcasting, the most magnetic force might be silence. Absence, when deliberate, becomes power. It becomes presence without noise, influence without effort. And the paradox is clear. To be truly remembered, sometimes you must first disappear. Not showing up isn't always retreat. Sometimes it's refinement. We live in a world that confuses presence with value, where being there is mistaken for being meaningful. But truth is, you don't need to always be present to be powerful. Sometimes your absence carries more weight than your applause. There's a quiet dignity in choosing when to step back, a hidden strength in knowing when your energy no longer belongs in the room. This isn't withdrawal, it's elevation. Lao Tzu once wrote, "When you let go of what you are, you become what you might be." To master your presence, you must also master your exit. A graceful exit is not drama, it's self-respect in motion. Because people rarely remember who stayed too long, but they never forget the one who left just right. Invisible boundaries don't need explanation. They speak in silence. They teach others how to treat you, not by force, but by absence. So next time you wonder if leaving makes you weaker, remember this: you're not disappearing. You're reappearing as someone who no longer needs to beg for value, but radiates it. Remember the candle? The flame burned out, but the room still smelled of it. That's the thing about real presence. It doesn't scream. It lingers. It whispers from the shadows. It echoes in the silence you leave behind. We spend so much of life trying to stay, to be seen, to be needed, to be invited back. But some of the strongest moments in history weren't loud entrances. They were quiet exits. Because value isn't just in showing up, it's in knowing when to leave, with dignity, with silence, with nothing to prove. You don't need to fill every space to be felt. You don't have to explain your absence to justify your worth. sometimes the most powerful message is sent by not sending anything at all. So pause for a second. Look around your life. How many people in your life are you still showing up for only because you've forgotten how to leave?